Let's talk about sickle cell disease. For literally thousands of years, it's carried this devastating complication, the vaso-occlusive crisis. It's an agonizing, unpredictable event, one of medicine's oldest and toughest challenges. But what if the answer wasn't some futuristic drug? What if it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time? We're going to dive into a story that could flip everything we thought we knew on its head.
Okay, so this is the official view from the top. You've got a major executive at a pharmaceutical giant, and in 2019, he's calling these crises unpredictable. That one word, that says it all. It frames the entire medical approach, which has basically been, wait for the disaster to strike, and then try to clean up the mess in the hospital. But here's the kicker. What if that fundamental assumption is just wrong? What if these crises aren't so unpredictable after all? What if the clues to stopping them cold have been sitting right there in published scientific papers for decades, just waiting for someone to finally connect the dots?
To really get this, we've got to rewind a bit, because the central argument in the material we're looking at today is that the key pieces of this puzzle aren't new at all. In fact, they've been around for a very, very long time. Okay, check out this timeline. This is pretty wild. All the way back in 1930, researchers knew that sickling was a reversible process linked to oxygen. Fast forward to the 90s, and you get more reports, even a clinical trial showing, yep, inhaled oxygen can reverse it. Then in 2015, a team at MIT actually films it happening. The evidence was piling up for decades. You can unsickle these cells with oxygen. So the big question is, why wasn't this being used to stop a crisis before it even got started?
Right, so this is the absolute key to understanding everything. A sickling event isn't just one big catastrophe. Think of it as a two-stage process. First, you have this reversible stage. It's triggered by low oxygen, and this is the crucial part, if you give the cells oxygen back in this window, they can pop right back to their normal shape. But if you wait too long, you cross a point of no return. You enter the irreversible stage. The cells are permanently damaged, they start blocking up blood vessels, and that's when you get the full-blown organ-damaging crisis that lands people in the emergency room.
So you'd think with all those clues pointing to a two-stage process, the modern approach would focus on that early reversible stage, right? Well, nope. Instead, the pharmaceutical industry has been looking elsewhere, and according to our source material, that path has led to a dead end, with one high-profile failure after another. And man, this table just lays it all out. Look at this. We're talking recent history, 2023 to 2025. Major drugs from giants like Novartis and Pfizer yanked, withdrawn, failed trials put on hold. Adagavio didn't work any better than a sugar pill. Oxbryta was actually linked to an increase in crises. Billions of dollars were poured into these drugs, all of them designed to fight the fire after the house was already burning down.
And this quote, this just nails it. It basically says that by trying to fix things way downstream, all these companies were completely ignoring the initial trigger. They were missing that first mile, that initial drop in oxygen that kicks off the whole reversible sickling process in the first place.
So if that approach was a dead end, what was the answer? Well, this is where translational researcher Dr. Sota Omagui enters the picture. He's the one who looked at all those century-old clues, saw the modern failures, and connected the dots in a way no one else had, proposing an idea that was, well, radically simple. He came up with a concept called the golden half hour. It's so brilliant. The idea is this. There's a critical 30-minute window right when the symptoms first start, when the sickling is still in that reversible stage. His hypothesis was that if you could hit it with oxygen right then and there, you could stop the entire cascade before it ever becomes irreversible. The missing piece of the puzzle wasn't a miracle drug. It was a stopwatch. It was all about timing. And that brings us to the whole solution, which just completely upends the old way of thinking. It's not about racing to a hospital. It's about giving the patient the power. It's the right tool, simple inhalational oxygen, in the right place, their own home, used at exactly the right time, the second they feel symptoms, inside that golden half hour. It's a powerful theory, right? But you've got to test it. Does this simple, proactive, at-home idea actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the data they gathered. So a study was set up with 98 patients in Nigeria. They tracked everything, daily symptom logs, hospital visits, you name it, comparing their lives before they had home oxygen to their lives after. And the results that were reported, well, they were nothing short of dramatic. First up, hospitalizations. For the patients who used oxygen at home the moment a crisis started, the study found a 79% relative reduction in hospital admissions. Just let that number sink in for a second. 79%. And it didn't stop there. The data also showed an 80% relative drop in the need for blood transfusions. That's a huge deal, since transfusions are a common but also risky treatment for severe crises.
But what about the pain itself? I mean, that's at the heart of every crisis. This chart is incredible. It shows the average daily pain score out of 10. Before the home oxygen, it was over a 5. After they started using it, it plummeted to just 1.59. What that means is they were turning these severe, agonizing crises into mild, manageable events, or even stopping them altogether, often in less than an hour.
You know, the clinical numbers are one thing, but this is what it's really all about. Patients themselves were reporting that 80 to 90% of their crises were either completely prevented or stopped dead in their tracks. They talked about their quality of life just skyrocketing, better sleep, more mobility, and maybe most importantly, a massive reduction in the constant fear of the next crisis. They weren't just victims anymore. They were in control.
So, what does this all add up to? If this approach is as effective as the study suggests, we're not just talking about a new treatment. We're talking about a fundamental, ground-up shift in how we manage sickle cell disease, a whole new paradigm.
And this slide just sums it up perfectly. The old way, the 100-year-old way, is reactive. You wait for the irreversible damage to set in, you rush to the ER, and you hope for the best. It's damage control. This new model is completely proactive. It makes the patient and their family the first responders. It gives them the power to stop the crisis from ever even happening. It's prevention, not just treatment. You know, it takes a certain kind of mindset to see a solution that everyone else has missed for a century. This quote from the discoverer, Dr. Sota Omogui, it gives you a real window into that mindset. It's not about chipping away at difficult problems, but about taking on the ones everyone else has written off as impossible. Which leaves us with this final massive question. For a medical mystery that's 7,300 years old, a problem that has defeated billions of dollars in modern research, could the answer really be this simple? Not some complex gene therapy or designer drug, but a treatment we've had for over a century, oxygen, just applied with a new understanding of place and timing? It makes you wonder what other impossible problems have simple solutions just hiding in plain sight.